Hello and welcome to India Decides Street View. The view on the street is very simple. The outcome of general election will be binary in nature. A stable government will kickstart a new bull market. A fractured mandate will push us back into a period of irreparable chaos. So how exactly are fund managers positioning their portfolio and how exactly are they preparing their portfolio to deal with the outcome of this binary event? So the question in front of my three panelists is that will history repeat itself? The experience of election verdict 2004 and 2009 has been that Dalal Street has widely fluctuated on the election outcome. So let me throw it open to our panel. Let me first introduce them, starting with Manish Sontalia, head of PMS with Motilal Oswal Securities, Pratik Agarwal, he represents ASK Group, and Sunil Singhania, head of equities with Reliance Mutual Fund. Gentlemen, good evening to all three of you and thank you for joining us. Manish, let me kickstart the show with you. Will this year's election verdict, will that verdict be a binary event?
Yeah, it would be a binary event, but I think the positive side of that binary event has already been played out in the markets as far as the verdict is concerned. It now remains to be seen what work, let's talk about a pro-Modi event, pro-Modi government coming to power. Markets will now wait to see what work he does. As if, from a Congress to a BJP government, 6,800 on the Nifty is more or less fully played out. But if it was to be a no Modi event, then markets have yet to price in that event.
Pratik, everyone's got a number. Everyone has assessed how much NDA will get in this leg of or in this Lok Sabha election. What is your sense? What kind of NDA victory are markets already pricing in?
I think markets are pricing in a stable government already. So that goes without saying, give or take few seats here and there. We would not like to really take names as to who comes to power, but I think a stable government is what is really required. Last time around, there was a different context in which government formation happened. We had a Lehman crisis, markets were down, and at that point in time, the election threw up a surprise which was not expected, and market celebrated. So we had a combination of cheap valuations, at least at that point in time it seemed to be cheap, and we had a 20% up move one single day. Now come to the context of the present. Now valuations are cheaper on PE versus long-term averages, but by a whisker. Going forward over the next 2 to 3 years, we do expect growth to accelerate. Whichever government comes to power, so we are not focused there. It will be higher than average. So if you are a long-term investor, chances of you still doing well in the equity markets are high. Problem is what happens in the short term. In the short term, the part of the market which is policy driven and which gets influenced by the government formation and the election results actually will not deliver numbers for 1 year and 1.5 years for sure. So while markets are forward looking and they discount the future, it is what length of future. Okay, so my sense is that's the part of the market which has reflated. So I would say a PSU bank, lot of good quality engineering companies also, construction definitely has gone up, and real estate
there's a lot of froth
way before time.
Okay, fair point. Sunil, this question is coming your way. Week ahead of poll results, apart from election outcome, nothing else honestly matters. So to your mind, what kind of NDA number is already in the price? Pick a number for us.
See, I think one good thing is that obviously we are heading for a very, very major sort of an event as far as markets are concerned. But even if you leave it aside, I think both on the macroeconomic front as well as the global scenario, things are much better. And even if you see the earnings season which so far has panned out, I think the earnings are coming out much better than what people are expecting. Of the companies which have reported so far, almost 16% profit growth has been reported, which is higher than what the analysts expected. On the election front, yes, there is an expectation that there would be hopefully a strong verdict, irrespective of the party which comes in. and I think we'll also go by that optimism. So I think from both macroeconomic, fundamental, as well as a news flow perspective, things are looking quite optimistic.
So Sunil, the outcome of last two poll verdict has been binary. After the 2004 polls, market came crashing down. Vice versa, in 2009, markets they rallied hard. So do you think this time around markets are prepared, and they are really prepared to handle the election volatility?
See, one is very clearly in the last 10-15 days, if you see the expectations on either side have been quite muted. So to that extent, we feel that unless there is a big surprise on either side, markets would tend to remain range bound. The other thing is, even if you consider the last two elections, if you remove that 1 day volatility or 2 days volatility, the market tends to then sort of adjust itself accordingly. So in 2004 we had a market which went down, and then you gradually saw the market come back very sharply. And in 2009 you saw the market go up by 25-30% in 1 day. But then over the next 1 year you saw the market sort of adjust to the fact that the returns were already discounted on the one single day. Our analysis shows that 1 year after the elections, in the last 6 election dates or years, markets have given you positive returns in 5 years. And I think that is basically what we need to focus on, rather than what is going to happen on the election day, whether it is up 5% or down 5%. But irrespective, I think the volatility this time is going to be much lower than what we saw in 2004 and 2009.
Manish, as of now, markets believe that the India regime will be better than the UPA regime. But if I take the clock back, when UPA 2 made a roaring comeback, markets went circuit up. So there is no guarantee that markets will get it right.
That's correct, but markets would want to give the benefit of doubt to the NDA government after a period of 9 years by the UPA government, and the country has gone through a period of policy paralysis which has affected its growth. I mean, Lehman crisis, etc. were all there, but India has its own share of problems as far as the policy related matters were concerned. So I think from that point of view, market would tend to be optimistic and give the new government a chance and expect them to do some work. But after some point in time, if they don't deliver, they are again going to get disappointed. So that's the way it's going to play out.
I think a large part of the reason why markets have appreciated, at least in this year, is a function of improvement in current account deficit. Inflation is looking toppy. IIP data has stopped contracting. So some would argue that a lot of good work already has been done. The finance minister indeed has given his shoulder to the wheel, so to speak. So why are markets so happy to see the back of UPA 2?
I think what you are saying is right. There has been a lot of good work which has happened. So various numbers have started to look significantly better. But is it sustainable is one question that is clearly there, because lots of improvements have happened by short-term fixes. Now, don't import gold, defer expenditure, and so on. So clearly, as things resort to normalcy, those numbers will again show some degree of stress. Also, what has also happened is maybe a lot of these things happened probably too late in the day and got subsumed by the election noise itself. So that has happened. Now, I tend to give an analogy. You have a fund manager who hasn't performed for 2 years. Okay, would you want the same guy to continue managing your money? I think in politics, the life is 5 years. And if overall people believe that the performance hasn't been there, I think it is change that brings in hope. And there is somebody who is probably getting propped up because of that. Now, how does it translate into market? To some extent, everything participates. They tend to believe that something nice will happen to all the battered down part of the market, because those are the guys who are looking at policymakers to get some hope. It's extremely necessary for them. But look at whether there are constraints or whether there is ample stuff to distribute. I mean, clearly there are constraints. Whosoever comes to power will have to prioritize. And what is it being spoken about? So, what is continuum? I think that is easier place to invest. So, let's assume there is a regime change and we look at what happened in an NDA regime earlier. So, the commonality which persisted, NDA to UPA and then probably the next one, would be reduction in at least fuel subsidies. There is a set of companies that benefit. To some extent, stock prices are reflective, maybe correctly so. So that's the easy part. Right. Second, there is this thing on nation building. These guys did it, but what was the model which did nation building? It was PPP model. Now that model has run its team. You can't do it.
So you have to come up with new tricks.
You have to come up with new tricks. And now the areas which are in focus, if it is, nation building may mean spend on defense.
Right.
It may mean spend on power, but which part of power? Maybe solar.
Right.
Okay. And there is nothing in the markets to play that.
New things will emerge. Every bull market has a new course. Fair point. So Manish, we like it, we don't like it. On 16th of May, investors will express their emotion. For those who are feeling optimistic, they are buying into beta stocks. For those who are feeling slightly nervous about the election outcome, they are buying into defensives or sitting on cash. One group will get it right, the other group will get it wrong. As a fund manager, how are you preparing your portfolio? Because your NAV on 16th of May will fluctuate.
Yeah, so Nikunj, at least we are fully convinced that a new bull market has begun with or without Modi 1 year from now. By 31st of March 2015.
Technically, a bull market has already started.
Yeah, so, Nifty would be north of 7,000 on the Nifty, even without Modi being in the PMC. And if you were to see a Modi government, we'll see 8,000 on the Nifty. But what I'm saying is that if you're talking about 16th of May, or maybe 13th of May till 16th of May, because the verdict will be broadly out on that day, by that time, we think the upside in the markets is limited. Just barring an outlier event of 272 coming for the BJP on its own, which looks very, very unlikely. This 6,800 on the Nifty is broadly played out. So we are positioning our portfolio to protect the downside first. Okay.
And how are you doing that?
We are having more defensives or so-called very high quality stocks as a considerable part of our portfolio. I think there will be ample time to rotate your sectors, stocks within those sectors. One thing is very clear, I don't want to bring junk. So, we don't want to bring junk in the portfolio, but within the so-called investable stocks, within the investment related sectors, there will be ample time.
What's the largest holding right now?
So, I think the largest two holdings in the mid-cap portfolio will be Eicher Motors, okay, and still Apage Industries at 13%. It has come down, but it's still 13%, and Eicher, because of the sheer up move in the stock price, is still about 13%.
So your house view is that just because we have an election around the corner, you will not change your investment style?
Broadly, we have not changed the investment style, and we will not do that.
Okay. Pratik, have you changed your investment style? Because as a fund manager, first you have to also protect capital. Then you have to capitalize on the event opportunity, so to speak. Just because we have a binary event, have you changed your investment style?
No, so our portfolios have worked and worked very well in spite of whatever has been happening in the overall environment. Our communication to our investors is very clear. We wish to preserve capital and grow capital through buying quality companies with strong earnings growth momentum. Okay, we continue to do that.
So what are your top three holdings?
And we have an equi-weighted portfolio. So my 20 holdings would be all kind of equi-weighted close to 5%. We do not take very high degree of single stock risk. Because the whole idea is to ensure replication of performance rather than a short period performance.
20% in pharma, that's high risk, that's high concentration.
No, we would beg to differ there, because what we look at is sustainability of earnings going forward, the valuations which are presented today, and the size of the opportunity. So, whether the growth that has been demonstrated in the past continues for the foreseeable future. I think if you look at various sectors, this is one sector where this is being presented on a platter. Yes, there are regulatory risks, but then if you are with the best of companies in this space, then that risk can be mitigated to a large extent.
So pharma is one of your co-holdings.
So that is what we are seeking to do. What happens because of elections and things probably improving is that we get larger choices. But we are not in a 0-1 game saying we buy into something and it does well, my portfolio, no. We want to preserve monies, grow money, help our HNI family offices to attain their financial goals.
Okay.
Take a risk with an X percentage of their monies into something which they believe will do well, maybe PSU pack, maybe construction pack, so on. We continue to do our work.
Okay. Sunil, assuming that India is on a mend, and since you believe that worst of the economic print is behind us, what kind of trajectory do you think, Sunil, markets could now follow in the medium term?
Yeah, again, Nikunj, we stick to the core belief that we have had roadblocks in the last 2-3 years in India's structural growth story. We believe that India, with some sort of push and with some little bit of luck, can come back to that 6, 7, 8% growth trajectory. And I think that would mean that ultimately this roadmap to a $5 trillion economy over the next 5 to 7 years definitely looks possible. Already we are the third largest economy in the world on a PPP basis, and we have surpassed Japan. I think it's a matter of time before we reach an absolute GDP of $5 trillion. And markets typically sort of start to discount that. The other thing is, last 4-5 years we have seen the earnings growth of only 7-8%. And that also has been contributed only by a couple of sectors, namely IT and pharma to a big extent. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we have already started to see profit growth of 15-16% coming from the corporates. And our view is that in the next 3-4 years, this 15% plus growth in corporate profitability is definitely a possibility. And market ultimately will start to discount both the GDP as well as the corporate profit growth. So we at least believe that in the next 4-5 years, we are again heading into a situation where steady, sustained returns, sustained growth in profitability, sustained growth in economy is very, very likely. And our view, both from a medium term as well as from a 4-5 year long term perspective, is that good returns should definitely be made on the equity side.
Manish, again, it's all about scenario building right now. Let's assume that if UPA does not get a clear mandate, they get a fractured mandate. Do you think defensives will come back in demand? Do you think IT and pharma, they will start outperforming?
See, in dollar terms, India is still underperforming, as opposed to the other emerging markets. So, what I'm saying is that clearly Indian markets are more in a risk-off mode than a risk-on mode, even despite the fact that there is a pro-Modi wave or belief in the markets that, things should improve, etc. Everything is fine. So I think initially, to begin with, run up to 16th of May, I want to keep the portfolio in a risk-off mode, and I continue to believe that even within those spaces, we would like to focus on quality, which represents the risk-on mode sort of a sectoral approach. And we have an allocation of around 15 to 20%. Our portfolios have worked brilliantly. The mid-cap portfolio is one of the very good portfolios in the market which has delivered the returns. So I think even with quality, you can generate very good returns, and keeping the beta of the portfolio low. We would like to have the portfolio in a more risk-off mode, before the election outcome is practically out and you have a scenario as to how the future is going to shape up, and we'll take up things from there.
IT clearly has been on the receiving end. When we started the year, Prateek, the consensus street on the view was that buy as much as IT you can. US economy is bouncing back. Growth is going to be exponential. But large cap IT stocks as we speak are sitting at a multi-month low. Is the current decline in IT a good time to add more IT, or in the short term IT will underperform because it is still a crowded trade?
No, so depends on what you are seeking to buy. If it is just short-term price movement and a rally subsequent to that, maybe the answer would be yes. But when we look at a business, we look at what kind of earnings momentum there would be. Now, the best of IT companies would probably not deliver you a 20% kind of earnings growth, and if they do, we would have them. So, in terms of volume growth, the larger IT companies where we are focused would do 12 to 16% kind of growth numbers. Now, without support of operating leverage or currency, the PAT numbers that you would get would be of similar order or lower. So yes, stock prices may have behaved in a particular manner, but with reason. So we have an exposure, max exposure to any in any of our products at 10% IT, not more than that. So we have a name or two, but that's about it.
So the only 10% is IT, 25% is pharma, even lower. So let me put it 35% IT pharma.
We are not cap focused. We are not sector focused. We are very bottoms up in terms of our portfolio. So 25+%, for example, growth expectations also to have in a visible manner is an extremely difficult thing to achieve in these kind of markets. So our portfolios tend to be extremely bottoms up. So yes, 30-35% into these two sectors.
But the general sense, what I'm gathering for at least all three of you, is that Indian economy is on a mend. And irrespective of Modi or no Modi, markets are headed higher.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at least I believe that, if you end this year with 4.7% with the tailwind of global growth now coming behind you, expectations of business sentiment picking up because of policy reforms coming into place, I think you're looking at anywhere between 5.5% and 6% growth. That adds to your corporate profits, right? So corporate profits, which have grown in single digits to very low double digits, now expected to grow at around 15%. For the next 2-3 years at least, even if there is no very stable government for the next 5 years, at least for the next 2 years, whatever coalition can, you'll see some work happening in the economy. I mean, that should bode well for the economy as a whole. So the market should also.
Fair point. Pratik, a 30-second answer. You're making a case that if markets fall on 16th of May, you will be a buyer, and if markets go up sharply, you will not chase momentum.
No, as of now, our portfolios are close to 100% invested, as they are always. Look at our positioning. Our betas are 0.65 or lower for all of our portfolios. Market fall, we almost invariably do well. So we are not too bothered about market falls. But yes, for the new money that we are getting, every fall is a great opportunity to build portfolios, which is what we continue.
But you will not chase momentum if markets go to 7,000.
We are extremely disciplined, process-oriented house. Okay. We will not chase momentum. See, ultimately, you have momentum in places where there is uncertainty of earnings. Where there is certainty of earnings and the size of opportunity is large, those automatically become defensive. So what is the logic of going on the other side?
Why hunt for something when a lot of obvious and good stocks are available? Sunil, final question and closing comments from you. The script of how Indian markets have moved in last few years has been a function of just two factors: liquidity and central bank policy action. What do you mind will influence the script from these levels? Growth, come back by retail investors, or macros?
This market has become very dynamic. Every 1 or 2 months you change your views, and there's probably sort of a consensus kind of a decision towards that. Yes, in case we have a very one-sided verdict in the elections, and there's a possibility of rupee appreciating in the very near term. But I think if you actually see, in the last couple of months data, specifically on the export side and the import side, a strong rupee is detrimental to the country in the immediate term. You have to focus on manufacturing, and a sustained strong rupee is not something which we can, sort of afford as a country immediately. And the RBI governor has also been quite vocal in the sense that, they would like to maintain rupee at a fair value, which according to them is the current value. So while admitting that in the near term there might be a sort of an underperformance largely because of rupee, as also because people would want to go into the high beta domestic cyclicals. But at the same time, if you see the growth in volume which IT companies are expected to report in the next couple of years, as also the fact that valuations are now in your favor with 13-14 PE multiples, we would not cut our at least a neutral view on IT. We are slightly overweight IT and will continue to maintain that.
All right, gentlemen, appreciate your time. Sunil, Pratik and Manish, Thank you for joining us on the show. Well, it's anyone's guess what will happen on 16th of May, but like they say, that lightning never strikes the same place twice, and hopefully this time around Indian markets are prepared to handle the election volatility. Now, what happens on 16th of May? Well, let's keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best.